good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. And today, we are going back behind my Spotify, and I haven't done a album review in a while. So what I end up doing for these album reviews for anyone who's new to the channel, typically I only review albums if they don't make my album of the year. And this one, for certain, I can tell you for a fact that it will not be making my album of the year. And I want to tell you guys why. And we're going to review the album in full. Let's just get straight to the point. Straight to the point. This album is a 10 out of 10. Like, it is a straight up 10 out of 10. There's nothing wrong with this album. Every single song on here just hits, dude. Like, if I had to, I think probably my favorites are Empty Handed, Spinning You Around, Talking to Your Ghost. Those are probably my favorites on this album. But, dude, I have straight up played this thing on repeat at work. It's been my favorite album this year. But here's the reason it's not my album of the year. Why I won't be making that list. And it really makes me mad because this album's so good. It's so good. There's nothing wrong with it. My issue is, and there's another artist that I believe is doing this with an album that comes out next month. I don't understand it. I don't know what's going on, in the album space and why people are veering away from this. But, so if you actually go to the merch, for Bilmuri, if you go to any artist with merch, they're usually going to be selling, t-shirts, hoodies, etc. What has happened here, when I went to look at the merch, because I was interested in getting a CD for this album, and when I went to so many different sources, I tried looking it up. I went to this dude's website. I also went to just the Spotify store. When I went to go and buy a CD, there is no CD option. You can't get a CD. And I don't understand that. I don't understand. I don't think Bill Murray's not a new artist, because Bill Murray's had, look at all these albums. Dropping. Hold on. How many albums does Bill Murray have? One. How many in 2016? I'm sorry. So 1, 2, 3 albums in 2016. 1, 2, 2 in 2018. 2 in 2017. 2 in 2019. 2 in 2020. And 2 in 2021? Here's what doesn't make a lick of sense to me, dude. And I just want to talk about this. This dude has so many albums. I don't know if this is his solo project or if this is if he does this, if Bill Murray is a band. It's hard to tell. But, I try to find a CD and I can't find one. All I've seen is vinyl. I don't understand it. I don't understand this whole vinyl I know vinyl was a thing, it's an old thing that was brought back and made new. And, no offense to people who only get vinyl. I have a vinyl player. I'm not going to go and get a vinyl record. I want a CD because, one, it's kind of a requirement when it comes to album of the years. Or when I make an album of the year, for my preference, I need a CD. That's it's a staple, dude, it shows how much I like the album, and I want to be able to play it in my car super loud for everyone to hear, right? And I know there's also the argument of, oh, you can just add the album to your Spotify playlist. Correct. But I like having something physical. I think everyone likes having something physical they can hold on to and look at and also play in their car. And I know there's another argument that can be made, oh, you can just play the album in your car through your iPhone, through Bluetooth, and it's like, cool, man. There's a point to be made. It's like, I like having that CD. I don't know, man. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a requirement that I like to have. And dude, it makes no sense why there's no CD of this album. And that's also to be said about the other albums. They probably only have vinyl. There's another album I'm probably going to review if a CD doesn't get made for it, which will probably be in like September or something, or I think that's when it's dropping. I won't mention the artist, but we will definitely review the album. But yeah, man, I've played this thing on repeat, and it's such a banger of an album, and there's no CD for it. It's such a bummer because it's so good. It's so good, and I don't know. I don't understand it. Me personally, I don't think. I don't know if not having a CD docks at a point. I think it does. I think it puts that at 9 out of 10, but it's just so silly, dude. It's so dumb. Like, dude, I would think, you know, me personally, I think CDs are super cheap to make. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're cheaper to make than a vinyl. When vinyl's like $30 some or something like that, however much money it is to make. I think it's cheaper to be making a CD because, well, with a CD, you put it into a computer or whatever, you put the songs on there, and it plays the songs. CDs aren't that expensive. They're not. And the two other things I just want to mention. One, Spotify has its own Spotify store, and you can put a CD on there and have it as a goal for people to buy, like to like fund the CD making process, so Spotify could send out CDs. So what doesn't make sense to me is like, why wouldn't Bilmuri do that? Seems a little odd to me, and I don't know why this dude, if it's just one dude, I don't know why he doesn't do it. Also, the label he's under, Columbia Records, a division of Sony Music Entertainment under exclusive license from blah blah blah. You're under a division of Sony Music Entertainment. How are you not producing CDs? Like, did the record company just not give you money to do that? Like, it's just obviously there's a lot of unknowns. I would really like to know why no one's talking about the fact that there is no CD for this album. Like, are we just forgetting about CDs? Like, I grew up with CDs. That's me. I grew up with CDs. Other people probably grew up with vinyl. People growing up now probably grew up listening to Spotify or whatever. Or, you know, people grew up with iTunes or Apple Music, whatever. The point I'm making is, like, I love that it's silly we're trying to bring, like, vinyl back, but we're now throwing CDs to the curb. I don't like this whole exclusivity thing of, like, throwing, like, you know, just leaving behind old things. Like, CDs still have a purpose. They still have a function. Some cars still use CDs. Mine does. So, the fact that this doesn't have a CD is the only reason I wouldn't make it my album of the year. No matter how good the album is, that's a requirement, man. The album has to be good. I need a CD with it, and that's that. That's a lot of the reasons why I haven't included certain albums on my album of the year is because they haven't had a CD. So if you've seen something, some albums that I've reviewed on here did have CDs, and I just didn't have them on my album of the year, but I wanted to review them anyway because they're good albums. So there's that, but also, like, some albums on here, like, I just reviewed because they don't have a CD, and it's such a shame. I know, like, there was one point where I'm not gonna go over to the album, but an album by Kala, The Diary of a Depressed Creative, he did a Spotify goal of, like, buying enough CDs, but not enough people bought enough CDs, so he couldn't fund it. To think, like, you know, this whole album, like, you know what, screw it, we'll bring up that that album. Where is it? I'll look it up for you guys. I'll look it up. Kala. just so you guys know what I'm talking about. So like this album doesn't have a lot of plays, but then you look at like this album, tons of plays. It would 100% fund, like it would fund a CD. I'm just saying, man. I think it's so silly that this album doesn't have a CD. I think it's silly that only has vinyl. It's I think it's a little I think there's like a gray area there. Like I feel like this dude is living too much in the future and is forgetting about the past, and also is just like, there's a term for it, like is being oblivious to the fact that people do want to buy a CD but can't buy a vinyl, you know? It's too expensive, man. Like CDs cost like $10. It's cheap. I don't know. The way this dude operates is not good. I feel like he needs to change how he does things. Like, dude, I bet there's people out there that want to buy these albums on CD, and he just, I don't know if he refuses to or if he chooses not to. Seems a little silly. Like, dude, I can't just take a vinyl player with me in the car and plug it in. Like, do you want me to do that? Because I will. I think it's a little silly, but other than that, man, just besides me complaining about not being able to get a CD, the album does, it's good. It's a really good album. I would recommend listening to it, regardless of the whole CD thing. Just give it a play, or 2 or 3. I've played it at least 20 times. It's a good album. It's so good. Just wish I had a CD. Hope that's not too much to ask. But anywho, that's going to be the video for today. But thank you guys for watching. If you did, as always, I appreciate it a ton. I will see you guys in the next video. And yeah, goodbye.